When I begin to approach the layout of a show, I will try to identify the line of sight from the entrance of the gallery. So what is the first thing that your eyes are drawn to naturally when you walk into a space? Then I would want to place like one of the more strong works within that line of sight, so that's the first thing that you're hit with when you walk through the space. And you want to look at the rest of the works and you want to try to identify some sort of common theme or variable that is present within each piece. And that's kind of difficult to do sometimes, but you're looking for repetition a lot of the times, repetition of line, color, space, size of the piece, and like making sure that there's some variation and it's not all like, you know, this piece is the same size as this piece next to this one. You know, breaking that up, providing some visual variation within the work of the show. And then really what it comes down to is just a gut reaction of what works next to another piece the best for you, because art is subjective and it's all based on your own opinion. So when starting to hang a show, you have a series of steps that you want to take. Your first step is going to be the rough layout of the show. So you're bringing all of the work that is going to be in the show into the gallery, and you're spreading it out as evenly as possible to make sure that all the spacing is pleasing to the eye and what you want it to look like. A piece of artwork is ready to hang when it comes outfitted with D-rings and a wire or a wire. The D-rings should be set at equal distance from either corner, which ensures quick math when it comes to actually hanging the work. The wire gives you the option of either hanging from the wire or D-rings, whichever works best in your particular circumstance. Once you get everything in a rough placement, then you're going to go through and you're going to lock in that placement. So this is where you're making sure that the distances between pieces are similar to the distances of all of the pieces in the show. What you want to do is you want to find center on your wall, which can be anywhere from 56 inches to 60 inches off of the floor, depending on your personal preference. Once you've located your center, what you want to do then is the individual math on each specific piece. So when doing the math on a piece, your first step is going to take the overall height of the piece. If you find your overall height, we've got 34 inches. You're going to cut that in half. So we're looking at 17 inches is from your halfway point to the top of the piece. Your halfway point is going to be that 60 on center line, which is the 60 inches up from the floor to the wall. You're adding your 17 inches to that, so we're looking at 77 inches. From there, you're going to figure out where your hang point is located. So my hang point here is going to be the center of the wire. I'm going to measure down from the top of the piece, and we're at about 2 inches from the top. So we're going to take that 77 mark, subtract 2 inches, 75 is where we're going to position our hanger on the wall. That's going to be where you're locating whatever hanger it is that you're using, whether it be a brass hanger, screwing an anchor in the wall, a cleat, you know, whatever it may be, that's that point. Once you've located that point, then you're going to check your math 2 more times. And then on top of that, once you've checked your math, then you're actually going to physically attach the hanger to the wall. This is the point in time where you're going to want to get somebody else in to help you, especially with larger works. So they come in, your assistant comes in to help you actually physically hang the piece on the wall. Once it's hung, you want to make sure that all your math is right, make sure that 60 center line is in the center of your piece and that the top of the piece is correlating to the math that you just did. After that, you want to bust out that level, get the level up there, make sure it's all good, and then you want to from there you can move on to lighting. When it comes to the lighting, you want to just make sure it's as even as possible. Some curators like the gallery to be lit even all the way through. Some people like it to have just spotlights on each individual piece. These are questions that you can, you know, walk through and figure out as you're going through it, just based on your own personal preference. Other things that you want to keep in mind when it comes to lighting is the cast shadow. Cast shadow here, it's all level and it's pretty much parallel with the bottom of the piece. If we had one of these lights going and the cast shadow was like a lot weighted on one side, you might want to adjust that, because anything that is in the gallery is going to also potentially distract your eye. And so just trying to make everything as consistent and pleasing to the eye as possible is your goal. Once you've got lighting down, then you can move on to labels. A label has all of the pertinent information for each specific piece within the show. So artist name, title of the work, media, size, price, anything that you need the viewer to walk away with other than just their impression of the work, all of that is found on the label. So you would want to print this information on an opaque piece of paper and then mount it onto some sort of substrate, whether it be foam core or mat board, something that gives it a little bit more presence. And then I will take said label, put gray sticky stuff on it, and then when locating the label on the work, you want to basically just make sure that it's consistent with all of the pieces. So we're going to say all of these labels will be hung at 40. I'll hang up 40 to the bottom of the piece, and then a consistent measurement from the side of the piece as well. So we will go with 3 inches here. Label on the wall, good to go. A title wall is a wall within the show that has vinyl graphics. It will tell the title of the show, maybe the artist names, as well as a brief statement. It should be located in a slightly prominent location within the show, but not taking precedence over any of the artwork. And again, consistency is the key. You just want everything to be in the same spot all the way through the wall. Then your show's done.